Welcome back to the channel. I'm Asura, the Pokemon trainer. It's been about 5 months since the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and there are so many mysteries surrounding these games, mainly when do the events of these games happen, and as well as what timeline do these games take place in. Because for those of you who don't know, there are two main primary timelines involving these games, mainly where a war happened and when a war didn't happen, and the outcomes of certain events involving that war. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing the differences in the timeline and why there are certain differences within the two main separate timelines. So without further ado, let's get started. But before we get started, I need to explain what happened in the events of the Kalos War. 3,000 years ago, before the events of X and Y, a war broke out between an unknown region and the Kalos region. And in the war, instead of sending out people to fight the battles, they send out Pokemon, including the Floette that belonged to the king known as AZ. And after receiving the body of his Floette, he vowed to bring his Floette back to life. So he decided to build a machine that could bring things back to life, and he activated it. And the machine worked and it brought his Floette back to life. However, he was consumed with revenge on the people who killed his Floette. So he turned the machine that gave life into a weapon and fired it. And as a result, it ended the war. However, one of the consequences of the weapon being fired was that it gave him and his Floette immortality. And his Floette, being disgusted with the fact that he used that weapon, abandoned him. Another consequence of firing the weapon was that it caused a rift in time and space, and it resulted in the creation of two separate universes. One where the war happened and the weapon was built, and one where the war didn't happen and so the weapon was never built. In the universe where the weapon was fired, the blast also irradiated stones in space, which resulted in the creation of Mega Evolution. And many years after the Kalos War, the Hoenn region is plagued with meteor showers. And due to Hoenn being struck by meteorites, eventually it led to the creation of two very important locations. The first being a crater in a volcano, which later became what is known as Sootopolis City. And another area that the meteorites struck was a place that became later known as Meteor Falls, as well as the home of the Dragonite people. However, as a result of the Hoenn region being constantly struck by meteorites, Groudon and Kyogre reawoken within their primal forms and started fighting each other for control over the world. And eventually Rayquaza came in to stop them. However, this time, due to prayers from the Dragonite people on a special stone, Rayquaza performed the first ever Mega Evolution and stopped Groudon and Kyogre. However, within the universe where Mega Evolution didn't exist, this such thing didn't occur. Even though Hoenn was plagued with meteor showers, Groudon and Kyogre didn't reawaken, and not to mention, there was no Mega Rayquaza because, well, Mega Evolution didn't exist. Now, another difference within the universes isn't just related to Mega Evolution. Another difference can be on certain characters being featured in different games. For example, the character Archer from Team Rocket is mainly prominently involved in the Kanto branch of Team Rocket within Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which takes place in the universe where Mega Evolution does exist. However, in the universe where Mega Evolution doesn't exist, he isn't really that much involved in the Kanto branch of Team Rocket. He's more involved in the Seve Island branch of Team Rocket. However, the one thing that stays the same is that both versions of the character vow to resurrect Team Rocket after finding out that Giovanni was defeated by Red. Now, another difference within the two universes has to do with the Hoenn games. In the post-game of Pokemon Emerald, you get to go to the Battle Frontier. While in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the Battle Frontier doesn't exist. Instead, it's just the Battle Mason from the Kalos region. However, there are signs and plans to build a Battle Frontier as seen in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire with a model of the Battle Tower from Pokemon Emerald. Now, even though it's not outright stated on when Sword and Shield storyline take place, I do believe it takes place after the events of Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. This is due to the advancement of technology as well as the utilization of Rotom in everyday life. For example, you're using Rotom-powered cell phones within the events of the game, as well as Rotom-powered bikes. This will mean that the Galar region and possibly other regions were inspired by Alola's Pokédex, as well as their usage of Rotom within the Pokédex. So because of this would mean that Pokemon Sword and Shield take place a couple years after the events of Sun and Moon / Ultra Sun and Moon, or a alternate version of Sun and Moon / Ultra Sun and Moon, because within the original games of Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, when you get to the post game, you get to Mega Evolve your Pokemon, which is possible because this takes place in the Mega timeline. However, in Sword and Shield, as of right now, it is impossible to Mega Evolve your Pokemon. So this could mean that Sword and Shield take place within the timeline where Mega Evolution doesn't exist. And I say could because, for all we know, Game Freak could release a patch that allows Pokemon to Mega Evolve, as well as being able to transfer Mega Stones. But those are just my thoughts on the timeline placement of Sword and Shield. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the timeline placement of Sword and Shield in the comments section below. So if you like this video, please leave a like and share this video. If you dislike this video, please leave a dislike. And if you want to subscribe, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.